Can you use this? Okay, hey everybody. Sorry about that. My daughter was asking me a question. Um, welcome to GallantFew's Leader Chat. Today, on today's episode, you have the infamous Zach Zabalos. I am the veteran support specialist for GallantFew, but today, awesome guest that we have is Steven Ventura. Steven also is a Marine. So, Steven, introduce yourself right quick.
Sure. My name is Steven Ventura, Marine Corps veteran. I've been out of the Corps for about 10 years. I currently work in municipal government. I've been working here for about 12 years. I have a daughter who just turned 6 this last summer, started first grade, or however we're doing first grade now. And my wife and I will be celebrating our 1-year anniversary in about a month from now.
Awesome! Wow, a lot of good things. Well, congrats on all of that.
Thank you.
It's exciting. So, okay. So for those who, again, don't know, I started in the Marine Corps. Actually, looks like Steven and I had a little bit of same time in. I was in the Marine Corps from 2008 to 2012. So let's talk a little bit about your Marine Corps experience, Steven. So I know vaguely you were an RD and maybe you're an FO, but just kind of give us more of a little bit more detailed background.
Sure. I joined in about 2001, and when I joined as a reservist. And as you mentioned, I was in artillery. I was a forward observer or scout observer, and so there was a couple parts to that. School started out in Oklahoma, Fort Lawton, and I had just missed a class. I just picked up, which means they had started and I got left behind because of when I got there. So a lot of working parties, a lot of sitting around. Finally picked up and went through that school. And the second part of my school was in Coronado, California. It was a beautiful island. We got to do some naval gunfire school there. Once I finished, it'd been about a year that I'd been in. And then I checked into my duty station again as a reservist. And I was probably in the reserves for about a year. And then our unit got activated in 2004. So from activation to when I got back home, it was about another year. I spent about 7 months in Iraq, operations in and around Fallujah. And after that, back to the reserves and kind of going back and forth between, my responsibilities as a Marine and then, of course, to my family and my emerging career.
All right. Okay. So looks like you said 04, you were in Fallujah, right? Mm-hmm. So was that Al Anbar province and whatnot?
Yeah.
And were you like so you? I would imagine that you were acting as, or not acting, but you were the FO for some type of a Victor unit or infantry unit or something like that.
So we were attached to 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines when we got in the country, and when we got there, everybody's MOS we had supply, we had communications, we had the ARTI field. All of those got transformed to logistics or motor T. We mainly did troop transport, supplies, ammo, and so we acted in support of. And then, of course, we went on patrols with them. We had some Marines that actually dealt with pucks, and we did a lot of different things. So I was able to sit in on some fire missions, but that was not my primary objective while I was overseas.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of interesting how that happens. I know Daphne, she leads our WAM program, the Women with a Mission. Her husband she's out of the military now, but her husband, they're over in Okinawa. Her husband signed up in the Marine Corps as a radio operator, so an RO. So I'm sure you know with that, they are always attached to RD and infantry and just basically combat elements. But she told me like when he got assigned to that unit, he was told essentially just to forget everything you learned. You're now like an honorary grunt kind of thing. So it's kind of interesting to hear that your background a little bit was similar to that.
Right.
So walk us through. So you finished that deployment, came back home, and then now you things kind of, did you deploy anymore, just or what's going on with your military career up to that point?
Sure. So when I first joined, I was actually about my first year in junior college, and at that point I realized it's all good. It's all going to be good in the future, but I wasn't quite ready to just be in school again. I just turned 18, so after a year in junior college, I said I'm going to do something different, join the Marine Corps. I didn't have any uncles or cousins or grandfathers or anybody in the military, so it was just kind of a big leap of faith that I was going to take. And then, like I said, first year was a bunch of schools and training and the rest, and then the deployment. So when I wasn't on active duty, I was actually in school full time, and I was working part time. And I'd actually been in the finance, accounting, tax field since high school. I was in a work program that allowed me to take time away from school to be kind of hands on, and I took a lot of advantage of that. And so eventually, I was actually hired by that property tax management firm. And so it's kind of where I got my base in finance, and realizing that I was pretty good at it. And it was something that I think I would look forward to as far as a career goes. Mix in active duty deployment. I was only deployed the one time to Iraq, and then I finished out in the reserves. But again, it was all school from there. I got out in about '09. In 2010, I graduated with my undergrad in finance. At that point, I started working in municipal government, which is again where I find myself today. And then I was out of the Marine Corps, still had all the, some good buds going through and that kind of thing, but I kept going to school, and I got my master's degree in accounting. And it's kind of where I'm at and where I've been since 2000, really.
Yeah, seems like your forte is it's just numbers, I guess. Kind of. I mean, next time when I go back to school, Carl, founder of GallantFew, will happy when I go back. But when I do go back, I'll be asking your help for my math homework. So just stand by for that. So there'll be a different fire mission, but pretty similar, I'd imagine.
There you go.
So, all right, so let's continue. So at this point, you are getting close to finishing your career in the Marine Corps. Now, what's going on in your life at that point? I know was the adjustment and transition smooth when you left the Marine Corps into the civilian world, into a full-time career? How did that process go? Because I know a lot of veterans, such as myself, I struggled a lot when I left the Marine Corps. I had no direction, had no leadership, I had basically no purpose. And so a lot of veterans typically can struggle with that. So did you struggle with that? If you didn't, or if you did, what did you do to overcome it? And then if you didn't struggle with it, then what would some advice that you'd give to somebody else, a new veteran?
So when I, going from active duty to the civilian world, kind of as I went, I found it harder, especially after my deployment, when I was going to, once I finished with community college, I went to university, and my university was extremely diverse. We're talking backgrounds, religions, cultures. And so I found myself having classmates or cohorts that I needed to work with and depend on for my grades. And there were people that maybe I didn't look at the way I would have prior to a deployment, prior to conflict. I struggled with that quite a bit, on top of a lot of social anxiety. I didn't like going anywhere by myself, much less sitting, in a classroom half the size of a movie theater. So that was really hard for me. As far as coping goes, I had a really good support system. I didn't, at the time, I didn't have a serious relationship, but I had good family and friends around me. Um, and then I did end up having a relationship, and I ended up getting married a few years later, and that was going pretty well for a long time. I think there was a little bit of lack of understanding and on her part and communication on my part as far as what I needed and that kind of thing. It took me several years before I visited with other veterans or even the VA to say, I think I need some help. I didn't really know to look there or think that might be a good idea. I had some Marines tell me that they were going through certain programs and they had certain counselors, and I'm thinking, yeah, well, Dallas VA is really far. I'm not messing with it. And it really took me, honestly, until about the time I got divorced a few years ago to realize something's got to give. Can't do it on my own. It takes more than medicine. And so what I did is just kind of got off the hump, started talking to friends about really getting in there and engaging. We'll talk a little bit about the North Texas Warrior Golf Association. I had a Marine of mine that I was deployed with and stationed with. He had already gone through the program. He told another couple of our buddies about it. And that kind of got me out and realizing, there's more to it. There's veterans just like me, people going through it. So that's really helped me. And that's one thing that now, part of the reason why I wanted to give back and be on the board of the organization is because, I have a voice and I have experience, and it's only right for me to share that because, again, a lot of people get lost in the fray. They don't know that there are good resources out there, or they don't know where to look. So
Right.
those people that I come across, those people that we interview to enter our program, we kind of tell them about that, what to expect, what we've experienced, and what to look forward to in the future.
So do you think, before we get on to North Texas Warriors real fast, do you think that it was going to the VA when you did at your point in that time in your life? Do you think that was a good turning point for you?
Yeah, that was definitely the starting point.
Okay.
That was the point at which I had kind of agreed with myself in that there was more than it was needed. At that point, I figured, again, everything that I had done up to that point, everything that I had tried to rely on or think that I could do, either failed or wasn't doing enough to make me feel good, to make me sleep well, to make me feel comfortable and going out by myself, or how I saw things, how I saw relationships with people, friends, how I even formed those relationships. And just a lot of that needed to change. And up until that point, it just wasn't happening.
Oh, great. I remember, side story, I guess, kind of, you mentioned like things like social anxiety, not sleeping well and whatnot. I remember when I got home from Afghanistan, and this is just like a week and a half or 2 weeks after Afghanistan, I got on my motorcycle and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go for a ride. I haven't ridden my bike in months. It's just time to get out. And granted, I used to be a little reckless on my motorcycle, but I was like, okay, I'm bored. I want to go walk around somewhere and just do something. So first place, for whatever reason, was there's a mall. I'm going to park my bike and go just walk around. And from the moment I stopped my bike, I just felt like tension on my back, like just like somebody was like kind of like scratching me, like an old witch was like poking her nails in my back or something. I was like, okay, you know what? Just ignore it. It's okay. You're fine. So as I'm walking, I'm taking my helmet off, putting my glasses and my hat on, and all of a sudden there's a small like little hole in the ground, and I guess there was a flattened like Coke can, but I didn't pay any attention to it, and then all of a sudden like I remember like as I was like took that one step, I like looked down and I saw my foot just like going for the Coke can, and I did it, and I stepped on it. It like kind of went down, it depressed a little bit into the hole, and I was like. I just like didn't move because I was like, oh God, like, what this is an IED and I get blown up right now. I was freaking out. And then I was like, wait, I'm in California. Okay. So I took my foot off, continued to walk into the mall. And then all of a sudden, like, that's when my first experience with social anxiety happened, was like, I just saw all these people. It was just a blur. And my cousin, she is an Army veteran. And I think she was at work or something. I called her, she didn't answer. I was texting her, letting her know what was going on. She's like, find a wall, go to the exit, get on your bike, and go home. I was like, okay. I did that, and I was like, it was so weird because that was my very first experience. I'm not sure if you've had anything like that. I'm not asking you to share. I mean, you can if you want, but you don't have to or anything. But at the same time, I realized like that was like, okay, something's a little bit different with me.
Right.
All right, so let's do this. Let's get into the meat potatoes of this conversation. I think we're both kind of excited about it. Because we're about a little over 13 minutes into our conversation in our leader chat. Let's talk about North Texas Warriors. So give us not the mission statement, give us a little sample of what North Texas Warriors is, and then we'll lead into that.
Sure. So we're an organization, nonprofit. What we do is we open up our application process, and post 9/11 wounded veterans, they apply. We actually sit down with them, we interview them, we vet them, their background, what they've been. One of the biggest things what we make sure is that we don't promote nor do we welcome any stolen valor. We don't mess with that. So we do extensive background checks. We make sure they are who they say they are. We have an actual 3 to 5 person committee that sits down with them, gets to know them. Just really an interview, is this person really going to be what we need and what we want for our group? We have about 70 warriors that have been through the program, and the program it's a golf clinic that we host for about 10 to 12 warriors every year in the spring, and they get professional coaching from our host golf club in Flower Mound. And at the root of it is just therapeutic opportunities, whether it be for social anxiety or just the increased flexibility, just kind of getting over those physical and mental hurdles that they have and they've experienced due to whatever trauma that they've experienced. we're about to hit our 10-year anniversary, and it's about 97% of all of our revenues go right back to the Warriors. The only overhead that we have is, warehousing, insurance, things that we absolutely have to have. We're an all volunteer board. We all enjoy giving back. There's a lot of years of experience on the board. There's been a little bit of turnover in the last couple of years, but still a very strong group of guys. We all get along. We meet due to COVID, like everybody else. We meet via Teams or Zoom, whatever the case might be. We meet. We have the Warriors in the program at the heart of what it is that we do, wanting to give back. Getting out, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, getting out, talking to other veterans, getting to know their experiences, getting to know where they've been, kind of like you were mentioning that you and I had a little bit of an overlap in the Marine Corps. It's just amazing to hear how many people were actually in country the exact same time that you were, and they were experiencing those same kinds of things, and that, they had the same kind of issues. They also had to leave a grocery store because they couldn't handle the anxiety. They had to sleep with the lights on for X amount of time after returning home. And there's just so many things that you don't get if you don't have that community that can relate to you. And it's kind of what we do. Again, we look for really good candidates to bring in, people that have something that we feel they can give back to not only the program, but those other Warriors that are in the program, as well as just the community. And that's something that we've thrived on. Like I said, coming up on 10 years, we've done really well. We have a really good group of guys, about 70 Warriors. And I say guys, we do have females as well. I think we have about, I could be wrong, about 30% minority. It's just diverse. All branches, both sexes, just everything you can think of, we've got it. And it's a really, really good organization. I went through in 2017, I believe, and coming up on 2 years on the board. Myself and another vice president, we handle the majority of the finances. Everybody on the board has their part, whether it be the clinic, whether it be just, the president overseeing it all. We have kind of an HR aspect. So it's very well run. It's very well respected. And I'm very proud to be a part of it.
Definitely. I agree. I think it's kind of funny or interesting, or maybe you made it happen, how your line of work, you're working with numbers and accounting, things like that nature. It led you into your role with North Texas Warriors as far as a treasurer. Right now, you're a VP, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great. So yeah, it's kind of I love how that worked out. I think, but maybe y'all planned that. I don't know. Maybe they found out Steven's good with numbers. He was a FO and everything, so it all added up. Yes, I was definitely very, very fortunate and blessed to go through the program last year, and it was a phenomenal clinic. I loved it. I'm sure you can see my clubs over there. I try to go out to the ranges as much as possible. COVID's kind of put a damper on everything, but I am definitely very lucky, or not lucky, but very blessed to have gone through the program. I know that we were able to connect, I think, maybe one or two other veterans in the clinic that just was completed. Was it June, I believe, May or June? So and then what do you have coming up? There is a big tournament coming up, right? So what's going on with that?
So Monday, September 14th, we have our annual fundraiser. It's at Bridlewood Golf Club. So every year we have the opportunity to bring out sponsors and essentially graduate our spring clinic class. So as you mentioned, through May or June of each year, they go through the clinic. And then throughout the summer, we have a few requirements that we ask them, just playing opportunities. Get out there, meet the guys, play. We host all kinds of events, whether it be a monthly outing at one of our 3 partner courses, or there's out-of-town events, there's local tournaments, there's different things that we host that we ask them to attend, be a part of, get to know us. And then in September at the annual fundraiser, they actually receive those clubs that, as you referenced, yours behind you there. You'll receive your clubs, then you're an official member per se, and there's requirements as we go through the years. There's a small amount of member fees that we have recently added, and it's just a really good opportunity for either ongoing sponsors or new people to come out. This year we had a little bit lower sponsorship numbers as we expected due to COVID, people not knowing what's going on, pulling back in their expenditures and that kind of thing. But we filled it up. We had individual spots open. People just filled them up, and we're really appreciative of that. And again, that's coming up pretty quick here on the 14th.
Definitely. That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, I definitely, I didn't play a whole lot of golf growing up, but I did a little bit. My dad, he would try to, he would tolerate me. I'm like, okay, come on, Zach. Like my ball would go this way, and then we just go all over the direction. He'd hit one perfect shot. I'm like, damn, like okay, like. But I will say this, that because of Nortex Warriors, I was always scoring, and it was never that good. But I would definitely go from 120 to 130 down to somewhere now in like low 90s, I want to say. So 30 strokes off the game because of North
That's
Texas
huge.
Warriors. Yeah.
That's
So
huge.
I mean, this is how I properly hold the club. This is how my swing was different. I always thought, I was more flexible than what I was, and so the Marine Corps quickly changed that. So my flexibility has decreased, but I try to live an active lifestyle. So with rock climbing and things of that nature, I'm able to maintain some of my mobility and flexibility as well. So what else? Well, we got some time left, but what else do you want to mention about Northeast Warriors? I mean, I know personally, I was able to meet some great vets there, and hearing some of their stories, I was like, okay, interesting. And even in my line of work, working with veterans on a daily basis, talking with them face to face was different. And I think that whatever the select, I mean, I know I went through the selection process with North Texas Warriors, but I think that it really kind of benefited me because I know that there's veterans that have been experienced more or experienced less, but yet at the same time, all of our experiences are relatable.
Right.
And so, I mean, what's the criteria or something like that? Because I know there's other people that are going to be watching this either live right now or recorded and shared on different social media pages. But what criteria would you look for with, I know because recently posted the application, I believe, online, or there's a post, I believe, that for 2021 applicants that's been posted. So you got free game right here to answer this question. That wasn't even a question. That was just me rambling. But
No
you have free
worries.
reign.
Sure. So the application period will open on September 14th, the day of our tournament, and it'll be we'll have that open through October 24th. And anybody can go to our website, check out the application. So what we look for is a post 9/11 disabled veteran, and that's important. And we also have a distance requirement. And off the top of my head, I don't remember if it's 60 or 75-mile requirement. And that's, well, the reason we try to keep that circle is just so that we have people showing up and that they don't live too far, that the opportunities that present themselves just aren't out of their range. So that's one of the major requirements. We ask for pictures, we ask for DD-214, we ask for statements, kind of just like I said, with the application itself. And then we just go through the process. Like I said, we have on our board, we have an HR arm that essentially just kind of provides us what to look for, what might stand out, who this person is, who referred them. And then, we try to narrow it down to about 10 to 12. And the reason for that is because we try to keep it quality over quantity, because we don't want just a ton of guys out there we can't, spend time with, we can't get to know. And so we try to keep it at about 10. We bring them in. Once the application process is done and interviews are done and we've selected those warriors for the next year's clinic, we start the clinics in the spring. And, anybody who meets those requirements roughly, I would encourage you to definitely apply and, give us a shout. We'd love to meet you.
Great. Yeah. And I think the great thing is like how you mentioned right now, the quality with the veterans, I guess you could say, for my own lack of better words, the locations, the staff, everything. Like I was very, very impressed with the way everything was ran. It was, again, very professional, but at the same time, it was very like, it had that veteran twist. Does that make sense? So whenever we got out there, it's like, okay, hey, you try to be a little bit polite and professional, but at the same time, you get. I remember on my first clinic, I believe we all started getting comfortable with each other, and just boom, we all just started talking to each other. But the great thing about being veterans is that's like the way you connect with each other. That's the way. Obviously, there's nothing harsh said, but I think that was one of the best ways to build camaraderie. I know, and that was new to me because I played I've done some activities with veterans before, and a lot of times it's been great, rock climbing or doing yoga or just doing any other event. But golf, that was the first time I was ever able to play with veterans. I actually want to say something real quick that I remember. There was a gentleman that, and I say gentleman because he was my old battalion sergeant major, and he was in the same clinic as I was in 2019.
Oh, wow.
So him and I were in Afghanistan together, and I remember we had, because again, North Texas Warriors, y'all do a fantastic job. There was the luncheon, the initial luncheon in 2019, and everybody got like shoes and just gear overall, rental clubs if you didn't have any. And all of a sudden, I remember seeing this guy stand up. He's like, "Oh, my name is so and so, and I was in the Marine Corps for 20 years, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Oh God!" Like that was him. That was him. And it turns out that him and I played golf on our own. Probably like March of this year, I want to say. I think maybe it was earlier, but him and I played golf together, and we had lunch right after, and it was just kind of crazy to have that connection with him. But again, that connection wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for North Texas Warriors. So that was such a phenomenal experience, and it wasn't just like yes sergeant major, no sergeant major. It was like I can call you by your first name. I don't want to say his name on here, but he's a great guy. Actually, he's going to be a speaker for our breakfast that we have in this area. But what other feedback have you gotten from other vets? I mean, I'm curious to see, and I want others that are watching this now or watching it later, I want them to know, because again, the organization is fantastic, and I'm very happy that GallantFew can support it in whatever element that we can. So, I mean, what other feedback have veterans given to you or other members of the staff, or you might just kind of heard through the grapevine?
Sure. Yeah. So, I'm sure you may not reach 100% approval or whatever the case might be, but I've just not heard that. I don't know anyone who hasn't enjoyed their time, appreciated what they've received, and I say received, and it's really veterans giving back to veterans is what we do. And like you mentioned, there's no rank. We're all veterans. We've all been through very similar things. We've all struggled with very similar things, and so that's what we're there to do and appreciate from one another. And for the majority, it's golf, but there's been skeet shooting. There's been trips out to Texas Motor Speedway to ride in cars around the track. There's just so many opportunities that are presented to us with so many wonderful partner organizations that are out there that, I mean, we meet such great people that want to give back, civilians that want to provide for our veterans. And through all of that, there's nothing but positive feedback that I've received. At the end of every clinic, there's a survey sent out to those onboarding warriors to say, what do you think? What can we do better? And we take all of that very seriously. And we think to ourselves, we've done so much through the years, but how can we make it that much better? We've upgraded partners with clothes and clubs. And I mean, just oftentimes the warriors that go to the clinic come tournament, when they get their clubs, they're just in awe. They just can't believe it. They're thinking, I'm shooting 120 and you gave me this incredible set of clubs. Well, you know what? You went through our program. You met our requirements. You deserve it. We want to see you out here. We want to see you involved. And again, it's been all positive feedback, a lot of appreciation. And any criticism that we've gotten has been very constructive. What if we do this? Or I wish we could have done this. Or maybe a few less guys, a few more guys, that kind of thing. And we take it to heart, very sincere in what we want to do and provide for our program and our guys.
Yeah, I definitely want to, of course, I'm going to pretend I'm a little kid here, but I definitely want to tap on to when we received the clubs. I think it was a Saturday right before the tournament, I believe, or Friday or something like that. But I remember when a gentleman by the name of Jason Leap and Josh Schmidt, they showed us the clubs, and I was just like, I was just like in awe, because what you said was verbatim of how I felt, because it was so much attention to detail. I know that I don't think you might have mentioned, but the clubs were custom fitted to us. Who needs a longer shaft, shorter shaft? Okay, you're regular. So, and then just the clubs are fantastic. They're not cheap at all. They are very high quality, and I just like. And not only that, but I think one of the coolest little things was it wasn't like a one size fits all. Not only just with the custom fitted clubs, but also you had your name embroidered on one of the pouches on towards I think it holds the tees or just more balls. But it was an amazing gift, and I know I try to use as much as I can. Again, like my clubs are right there behind me, but that's because right behind me every once in a while I'll just sit and just putt and just work on my putting and have like 5 or 6 balls out and just putt. But not only that, it's just going forward. It's like at that point you've given the veteran the tools to, okay, hey, look, now you have basically no excuse to play the game. You have connections to 3 golf courses in the area. You have shoes, you have shirts, you have belts, you have clubs, you have balls, you have tees, you have gloves. Go play, and you have hats. I'm sure you can see my hats. I think I'm not sure where. There it is. But I have 3 hats under my red hat. So I try to play as much as I possibly can. If I can't do that, then I know I have, I know that I have the ability and the connections to go play. But again, not only that, it's the other partner organizations that North Texas Warrior has established to go do fun things. Like I've never ever been. I was so mad I couldn't make it, but the Texas Motor Speedway Day, I was like, I know I couldn't make it for some reason. Can't remember what it was, but I was really like, oh, that's so awesome. But to see veterans giving back and essentially serving after serving, it's such a phenomenal experience, and it's very inspiring, very motivating. I know that North Texas Warriors and GallantFew are very close at heart. I know that our organizations kind of promote each other. That's a big reason why I was really excited to have you on here, and also because you're a Marine. So I can occasionally talk with a bunch of Army guys. I'm okay. I need some like devil dog blood going. But all right, Steven. Well, we're a little over 31 minutes now. And is there anything else that you want to just recap on, or say anything to our viewers and our veterans and our patriots out there?
I just want to thank you for the opportunity, reaching out for this little chat here. It's been pretty good to just kind of talk about where I've been, what I've done, what I'm a part of, what's very important to me, and so I appreciate that platform. Again, September 14th, our application period opens through October 24th. If you're interested, visit our website, ntwga.org. You find information on the application. We love to meet new veterans, and definitely just keep hitting them straight.
Definitely. All right. Well, again, for all those who are listening, who are watching now live or watching in the recorded version, this is Steven Ventura with the organization North Texas Warriors Golf Association. We will share a post for your organization, so that way we can have veteran applicants get ready to sign up, or maybe just donate in general. So again, everybody, thank you for watching. My name is Zach Sabalos. I'm with GallantFew, serving in the United States Marine Corps. And just to our sign off is be brave, be bold, be gallant. Thanks, everybody.